this special BDSM edition of Unzipped Truths. We are speaking with the Queen of the Night and her king about all things BDSM. It's going to be sizzling. Hope you love it as much as we loved making it.
Well, since a lot of this is done on the game, in that I was known as HD.
HD. See, that's what I was going to call you, because I kept looking at you. I've seen a picture of y'all like on the server of JT Devils. So I knew your name, but I kept going. I mean, I don't know if I can call him daddy or not. Like, you know, you gotta be very
I'd appreciate it if you didn't.
daddy, and you know, like I was like, yeah. I told Sassy.
I only have
like,
one person call me that, and she's here.
I don't never call a man. I don't never call a man daddy. Like, what am I gonna do? Do I call him? What do I call him? Okay, so this is going to be a very special episode. Like, we've got a lot of stuff to discuss, and I know you, Chef. You gotta bounce around 9:30ish or so. So that's not a problem. We'll just get through as much as we can, and whatever we don't get through, hey, it's always there for another day. So, Akasha, you want to say hey, everybody?
Hi. Hey.
Again, we might see Dixie tonight. We might not. We might see her on. Who knows? Like, you don't never know with Dixie. Like, she's one of them women.
Dixie.
So yes, it is. It really is. Like I tried.
Dixie wants to make an entrance. You know.
Look, I tried my hardest to hate her, but like can't.
You can't hate. You can't hate Dixie.
I really did, though. I really did try. Like,
she'll make sure you can't.
No, I'm telling y'all, like, we were at war at one time. Like, I don't know if she said it a couple times on the show, but like she put my whole, like, I told her to go drive off a cliff, right? Like, that's just in the moment, in the heat of the moment. Like, she posted my arrest record and my mugshot and my real name and the county that I live in and my phone number on like the Match 3D general, the server, but the general chat part of the server. I'm scrolling through it one day. We'd done made up by then, and I'm scrolling through it, and I come across my mugshot. I'm like, how in the fuck? And I look up and see who posted it, and it's DJ Dixie, and I'm like, man, I called. She was dead ass asleep. I called her, and I was like, what in the? And like, she goes, oh my God, I forgot about that. How do you forget about that? Like, how do you forget about that? So, yeah, like she's ruthless. But anyways, it is what it is. That's my best friend. I couldn't imagine not talking to her in a day. So. Okay, so of course we've got HD, Chef, Akasha's husband, all wrapped into one, and we really appreciate you coming out and discuss tonight, because there's a lot of misinformation in the community and in like just in the world in general about what a real dom is and what they're all about. Like, I told y'all a couple weeks ago or last week, you know, why I had an aversion to but I seriously don't like fake doms. Like, I know when it's done right, it's a very loving and respectful relationship between the two parties, or, you know, whatever, maybe 4 parties, however many parties there is involved in that particular dynamic. So so I wanted to have you on, and so you could like explain the right way and the proper terms for things, not like, oh, hey, bro, like I just called me like 9 bitches. Like, that's not how a dom normally speaks when he's speaking about their subs. So, understanding the role of a dom, like, what inspired you to become a dom? Did anything inspire you to do it, or did you just like accidentally fall into the lifestyle, or how did that come about?
It's gonna what?
So I'm sorry, I actually muted myself so I didn't like make noises while you were speaking. But
That's okay.
for me personally, I've always been on the kinkier side, even when I was first like young and first finding porn and stuff like that. Like I'd always lean towards the whips and chains and leather. And like Catwoman, like come on. So
Halle Berry, yes.
yeah, I mean the whole latex, like yes, please and thank you. But when I was mid-20s, I was living down in Florida, and I had a friend of mine, and I mean, well, full disclosure, I was young and stupid, and we were, I was helping him move a lot of miscellaneous products from one location to another in exchange for money. And I ended up meeting his mother, and his mother was for starters, a spiritual healer. That's how we started talking. Later come to find out, she was also a professional dominatrix. And she brought that up with me because spiritual healer reads energy, kind of felt my vibe and was like, hey. So I actually started learning from her, which for me was a fantastic experience because I wasn't, especially back 20 plus years ago. It was really bad with a lot of male doms. They were very egotistical. Your basic cis alpha male, like that was what a dom was. Learning from it from a female's perspective allowed me to actually understand what a dom is, and so my nature is giving as a caretaker, somebody that is there to help, guide, and be there for people. So landing in the dom role, because in my opinion that's what it is, you are there to care for your submissive. You are there to take care of them. You are there to help and guide them. So it all just kind of fell into place.
Yeah, I first and foremost, I'm gonna say, yeah, Florida. It's a peculiar state. Like that's where we live. I was born and raised in Florida all my life. So it's like I understand. Like we got a lot of spiritual healers in this state. Like every time you go to a Jiffy store, like you're gonna find a crystal dealer, and not that kind of crystal dealer, like one that actually has crystals in the back of their truck or something. So yeah, we're a very interesting state. So I say that we're the Wang of the United States, because if you look at the United States, it looks like a penis hanging off
You're
the
not
bottom
wrong.
of it. So and that's what I came to discover about DOMs and subs, when I hadn't really, it wasn't something that I wanted to find out about. And then when I came into 3DX, I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair, so there was a lot, the Dom sub community. It's big in that on this community, and there was a lot of them that were not true in what they were saying and what they were doing. So I started researching, because I love to research stuff. Like I will research the shit out of something. And so I started researching it, and I found out that the majority of what I was being told, they didn't know exactly what they were talking about, and people would believe it. And so I started getting wise, and I would ask them a couple questions. If they couldn't answer them questions, then I knew you're full of shit. And the thing is, what's what's really bad, like in a place 3DX, is I've always come to the conclusion that 3DX is like it's a training ground for unscrupulous people, and especially like not nice individuals. And if somebody wants to learn how just say, for instance, hypothetically, how to crack open a mind, um, there's a lot of people in 3DX that I firmly believe use this to act out real life scenarios. And if they can get it to work in 3DX, well, then they'll go out into the real world and try that particular like angle or something. Because I know of one woman, she had been damaged by several divorces. Like, she was not a healthy, her mental state was not healthy, and I told her that several times. And like, this one guy convinced, and this has been years ago, but he convinced her to sell everything she owned because he was her dom. She had never met this person in real life. Like, this was all over 3DX, and like, she sold her home, everything owned, and wired the money to him. And then of course he disappeared, like hundreds of $1,000s. Like, we bitch and complain sometimes. We, like, somebody takes us for a few dollars here and there, or this woman, like, sold everything. She was homeless, and sent that man all that money, and then he just, like, as soon as he got it, he disappeared, and nobody ever heard him again. That was a big come up on his part, right? That's what we call it over here, anyways. You just hit a lick, and he found somebody that was not in a healthy mind frame, and took advantage. Like that's a piece of shit, in my book. You know what I'm saying? If you can do that to a woman, that you're not someone that needs to be around society. So, but yeah, that was one of the best answers that I've ever heard from anybody when I asked them about how they become in the lifestyle. Most of them just say, "Oh, I was just in the right place at the right time. I had a wild chick," or something like that. And so, okay, Akasha, you can ask your question now.
Okay. We're doing the episode content guest one, right? Because this is the thing you gave me.
Yeah. Where it says, right, yeah, it just says understanding the role, and it has a minute, and it's just red. It just says, how do you ensure?
Okay, there we go.
See that?
Yeah, I see that one. I'm making sure I had the right thing.
Oh, it's totally different than what I normally do.
Yeah, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do you ensure the safety and consent of your partners?
I'm going to say this a lot tonight. I guarantee it. Communication. 100% communication. Because if there's no proper communication, then there's no proper consent. That's like going out to the bar, going home with a drunk girl and bragging about getting laid. That's not getting laid. That's technically rape, because as soon as they're inebriated, that's not consent. So you always communicate. Like with Akasha and myself, if we're going to do a scene, we communicate before about what we are interested in, what we're going to try. We make sure we go back over our safe words, even though we know the safe words. We've memorized them, we've used them multiple times. Still, we go back and we make sure. I also do regular check-ins during a scene to make sure that everything is okay. Because you're not there to harm, you're there for the release, the pleasure. Granted, yes, sometimes pain is pleasure, but that's not all of it. You're there to push boundaries, not uncommunicated boundaries, but you're normal boundaries? What would be an average for you? You're there to try to push that to elevate it a little bit.
Yeah, they so you're telling me that all them women that got me drunk when I was a young man, like they were all
Uh,
just trying to take advantage. I just thought they were being nice. No, I'm just kidding.
Unless communicated beforehand and agreed upon before inebriation, yes, technically you were raped.
Well, you know, it is what it is. Okay. So that was a good answer. Thank you, sir, for that. Yes, communication is very important. That's what I tell Sassy all the time. Like, if you do not communicate, like if you don't, like from the first day, miscommunications. Me and Sassy have them all the time, but like we really like she talked a long time and forever, and like so we
Like,
get the communication down. No, I'm just kidding. She don't talk that much, but
no, that's your
like we
job.
communicate. Yeah. Oh, I know, right, girl? No, no, not in this household. Miss Sassy talks more than I do.
Yeah, sure.
What
Let's
you
go with
had
that.
about over there? Like, yeah. I get.
One pill.
There is sometimes that
No.
I don't hardly talk at all, like the whole day. Like, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go through. I came across this thing here, and I thought it was really neat. It's a BDSM myth. And if they, if it's true and correct, or if it's a myth, you know what I'm saying? So, I think Sassy got a 9 out of 10 on this thing when we did it. Just the two of us together. So, yeah, you do. Okay, so Akasha, you can start with the very first because I put you as the very first one for some reason. I
Yeah, for
figured,
some
like,
reason.
yeah. There's a lot more red on this script than there is black tonight, girl.
Okay. Myth. Shut up before I find a color. Myth. BDSM is abusive.
I would have to 150% say it can be if that's what you want it to be. Because there's a lot of sadists and a lot of masochists. However, that is not what BDSM is.
That's right. Yeah, it was debunked because
Mhm.
Akasha, if you wanna say the
Yeah.
why it was debunked.
BDSM is rooted in consent, communication, and mutual respect. Participants engage in activities that they both agree upon, and safety is a top priority. Abuse, on the other hand, involves a lack of consent and is inherently
Yes, ma'am.
harmful.
Good job, girl. Yes.
Giving me fucking big words, you motherfucker.
It's okay though. Like you did that one well. Like you went up the hill and right down the hill on the other side. Like you did it great. Like I was very proud. Thank you. So I try to simplify the words as much as possible. Like when they're in red, but when I forget to put them in red, like I'm like, oh, dang it. So, okay. So, okay. Only broken people engage in BDSM. True or false?
100% false.
That's exactly
Absolutely
right.
not.
You know. I was broken for a long time, and it never interested me until I was put back together. Then when all my glue dried, like then I was interested in BDSM. BDSM are well-adjusted individuals. BDSM can be a healthy expression of sexuality and intimacy, and it doesn't indicate in any psychological issues. So, I know it's funny because I have really good friends, and like he is a professor at the University of Florida, and his wife is a very well-known neurologist, like very well-known, and like they are the swingingest people I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God! Like when I was younger, and especially after my divorce, like they were like, "You want to come over to our house?" And hell no, I don't want to come over to y'all's house. Like y'all live in like a dungeon type situation, and I'm scared to even walk through the door to give y'all an estimate on y'all's carpet. Like I don't, I'm not coming over there. I'm not hanging out there. Like so, yep, it is not for broken people. It is for very very put together. But there is some, you have a whole variety of people.
Oh, I would
Yeah.
agree with a variety of people. It's
Yeah.
like walking into a spice shop, like you're going to get a little bit of everything. Now, I can't say the lifestyle in general doesn't pull in. Like, there are definitely people that gravitate towards it because of like certain mindsets, but that's not everybody that is troubled.
Yes, sir. Very good, very good explanation of that too. Like, see, this is why I wanted you, and this is why I waited to do this, like in depth, until I found, like you, because you can ask Akasha. I've been asking, like, there's been many times I've asked about you coming on the show, and she's like, he's busy right now, and I'm like, okay, like I'm patient. Like, don't think you're gonna wait.
Well, yeah,
I'm
he
very
usually
patient. Like,
is
I'm
because
very patient.
he ends up not coming home the time he's supposed to come home, and he ends up coming home late. So it's why I say
Well,
he's busy. And whenever he feels like he can do it, you'll let me know.
exactly. Like I totally understand that. Like I had to call Sassy one night, and like I had went out. I told her I was going to drop some food off to a friend of ours that lives in the woods, and like I got pulled over on the way there, so I wasn't trying to get pulled over again. And like I took a detour, and then I had to call. I called Sassy, and I'm like, I'm Sassy. You might want to like go over there and get a hold of our son, and I'm telling him he needs to come like pull me out because I'm kind of stuck, buried all the way down to the axles, in the middle of this road. And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "It it hadn't what it hadn't rained. Like we live out in Florida, but we live in Sand Hills, so like when it doesn't rain, our dirt roads get like it's sugar sand, so it'll build up, and you look at this road and it looks fine until your tires hit it. And when your whole vehicle starts to squat down in the middle of the road, you know something. So like I ran this. We have a Hyundai Sonata, and I ran this car, and I'm talking I was balling all the way up this hill, and till my tires came off the ground because I bottomed out in the middle of the road. And like, yeah, you ain't gonna come away from that. But I got further than any other vehicle did. Like there was a big ass Dodge Ram Hemi that come to pull me out, and he got stuck way before I did. Like I'm like my car's a tank, but if the wheels are off the ground, it doesn't work. So okay, you're next, ma'am.
Sorry.
That's okay. Gotcha, we're used to it, hon. Like we're used to it.
Yeah, it's true. Anyways, I'm like eating my fucking gummies right here, okay?
I figured.
I'm enjoying the moment here, okay?
There's like, there's always you're always gnawing on something. Like
Yeah, I'm
I
always coming.
like I know that there's like I'm fixing to be gnawing on something too. But cheese quesadillas be sounding. This thing smells good. Like starving to death. So
Yeah.
all right, ma'am. All right, we're back on track now.
All right. BDSM is all about pain.
No, definitely not. There are so many subcategories in the BDSM/kink community that don't involve pain. Most of them don't.
Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right, sir. It is. It's debunked because while some BDSM activities may involve pain, the focus is often on pleasure, trust, and exploration. Many people engage in BDSM for the emotional connection and the heightened intimacy it can create. Like I am one that loves a little bit of pain. Like I've said it a couple times. Like if Sassy's bouncing up and down on me, like she just stops in mid bounce and just punches me square in the face. Like that's a good day. That's a good time right there. Like I'm I'm all for that. She won't because like she don't like to punch things or whatnot, and like but whatever. I've told her many times, just punch me square in the face. Like I got a jaw like steel. Like you ain't gonna break it. I guarantee you ain't gonna break it. But like it'll heighten the sense of intimacy. So like I don't like the pain where like you ain't gonna put some fish hooks in my nipples and raise me up off the ground. Like that shit ain't happening. Like that is not happening. But you can slap and bite. I call it kitty style. It's kind of like doggy style, except there's a lot of biting and scratching. So yeah.
I do that every
Yeah,
day.
Yeah.
for me, like hitting, especially in the face, is definitely out of the question. And this is where people's differences are a thing. It's you can't lump it all into one. However, like, and the missus knows this very well, I have no problems being bitten and scratched, especially on like my shoulders and back. Like I'll even take a good flogging to the back. That's a good stress relief right
Is
there.
that what the Pope does? Like when he's
If he's
the
into
one Pope we had.
self-flagellation, yes.
Well, the one Pope that we had most recently, like he would go into his quarters and like he couldn't be like he'd be in there like whipping the hell out of his back with a cat of nine tails or some shit like that.
Yep, that would be self-flagellation, and
Okay,
that's
yeah.
really, really predominant in religious groups.
Yeah, they were doing. I can't remember how that came out. It was when I think after he died. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, he was. They said he'd be in there. John, I think it was. What was? I can't remember the most recent one, but anyways, yeah, they said he'd be in there for hours. Man, he'd open the door and his back would be just running with blood down it because he would whip himself for so long. So. But yeah, that's to do with that. Like, yeah, that. Okay, so you have to be a specific gender to be a dom or a sub.
Most definitely not. Like I said, technically, I believe it would be dame or dominatrix. I personally started learning from was exactly that, a dame dominatrix, a female, whereas I am a male. So definitely not.
So is there a difference between a dominatrix and like a femdom, or are they basically the same thing, just different? Or does that both mean the same exact thing? Like,
I suppose it's going to depend on what circles that you're speaking of.
okay.
I know whereas in some circles a femdom would be a female dom, a dom, or another term dominatrix or dame for short. I've also was a trans pre-op male to female dominatrix.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Yeah, like, and I've noticed like some of them are like they differ just like men do. Even the female dominatrix, like some of them there's some that are a lot more extreme than others. Like it just depends on, I guess, their teachings or how they came into it. Like there's some femdoms, they don't give a fuck who you are. Like they gonna DP you with their demon tail, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they really get into the doming part. But me and Sassy, we watch a woman on TV, it's actually on YouTube, but she explains a lot. I had turned her on to her because she explains BDSM and the kinks and all that, the lifestyle, really good. And she doesn't sugarcoat the shit. And like she'll tell you. She said one time that like she knows, for the most part, she knows the boundaries of her, because she teaches a class and you can sign up for her class, and you can go in there and it's actually an exercise class, and yeah, and it's a and it's like kind of like a submissive thing too. But the curriculum is around the dom sub lifestyle. Like they can't speak unless she allows them to, and blah blah blah. But it's also centered around physical fitness too. So it's an exercise class with a little bit of doming involved. But she says she doesn't go knows the majority of their limits, and like if they're always free to, like if something's going a little too intense for them, like to just say their safe word, and they're always more than welcome to bow out or leave or do whatever they have to do. And so yeah, but I've seen some of them women, like they're more intense than the male doms. I don't think women have as much of a stereotype to kind of defend against, like males. When you walk up and you meet somebody and they go, "Oh, I'm a male dom," I'm a dom. Like from the very beginning, like some women and men, whatever, they judge you from right the very first moment they meet you, right? They judge you just because of what you are. So I know a lot of real doms, like they go above and beyond to like ease people's minds about, like, I'm not this demon guy, right? I'm actually a caring human being that cares for the person on the other side of it. So I don't think women have to defend themselves against that stereotype like men do as much. So
Uh,
all right, man.
Unfortunately for women, they have to defend themselves for pretty much fucking any choice they make, which is
Well, yeah, you're
absolutely
exactly
terrible.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
But I could definitely see the draw for a female to do it.
Hell yeah, like I swear in the prison system down here in the state of Florida, like 99% of them are dominatrix in training, because like, whew, they know how to control a man for sure. And if you don't fall in line, they're gonna shoot your ass. like you gotta fall in line. All right, Mr. Kasha.
Yuki dokie. All right. BDSM is just a phase or a trend?
Most definitely not. BDSM goes back a long, long way. Like I don't know exactly what time period, but I know that it's not something new.
Okay. BDSM is a long-standing practice that has existed in various forms throughout history. For many, it is a consistent part of their sexual identity and lifestyle.
It is.
I mean,
Go ahead,
look at
sir.
all the torture devices they made back in the day. Like, you don't think BDSM was a thing back then? Like, come on.
Especially that damn what's the thing with the it's the shape of what is that, the Iron, is it the Iron Maiden, is that the
The
one
Iron
that's
Maiden that closes you inside with the
what
spikes.
spikes? Oh my gosh, like, look man, just like cut my head off, whatever, like don't put me in a spiky little box, because like
Nope,
you're
I'd
not
take
gonna
the
die
Iron Maiden
instantly.
over the bull.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know how the bull works?
The what?
I believe it's the type of metal, which I believe was brass. That one, it was a giant hollow bowl that had a lid on it that they would shut and seal after they stuck you inside and built the fire underneath it.
I've seen that in some of the literature. Yeah, or that's just like the what is that? The something eagle. What is that when they?
The blood eagle.
Yes, man. What? Like, no, just dude, just cut my head off. That's all. Just do that. Like it's
No.
a bunch of like they love torture back in the olden days because like all of our you can look from China to Japan to the United States. Like we used to do like where we would tie the human being like their wrists one horse to tie one to one horse, tie one to the other horse, tie each leg to a horse, and then they would shoot
Drawn
a
and
shot.
quartered.
And yes, and like them, like you ain't gonna stop that. Like they gonna rip you in half, or they gonna rip something off of you. Like you're not stopping a horse from like you're not gonna go. I'm Hercules and stop that. Like that's gonna happen. So like it was, yeah. They loved that torture stuff back then. I one time was like, I would love to have been born way back in the day. And then I look at some of the punishments that they had, and I'm like, no.
Get caught
good
stealing,
right here.
lose the hand.
Oh, well, it's funny because my brother, he lived in Saudi Arabia for 26 years, and like they still live by the old Arabic law over there. I'm not sure. I know it's been getting a little bit better over the recent years. Like women have been getting more rights recently, but like this was in '96 when I went to Saudi Arabia, and it was like these. They did not punish the woman. I mean, they didn't punish the man. They didn't punish the woman. I'm sorry. If your wife went and stole an apple from the market, like they would come get you and they would cut your hand off.
Yep.
Right, because you're supposed to be able to control your household and your wife, how many ever you had, and so man, they still do that shit. Like they eye for an eye over there, and like my brother's he's the most arrogant human being on earth, and I just knew he was gonna die over there because like you're not allowed, Americans aren't allowed to drink only in the U.S. Embassy. They're not allowed to possess alcohol or pork or anything like that. And like my brother would have like pigs flown in, and they would be roasting them, in the ground in the compound. I'm like, dude, like you're seriously gonna get murdered eventually. Like that, right? Like they're just gonna murder your ass. It was ridiculous. I know he did get arrested one time, and like they were like, "We'll let you out when you apologize to the king." And I'm like, "Oh, then y'all might as well just like go ahead and make his coffin now, because like he ain't gonna apologize. Like my brother would never apologize to anybody." And he eventually did. Like he finally comes to their way of thinking. Like, oh yeah, I'm really not gonna get out of here unless I apologize. So it is what it is. My sister was super blonde now, and blue eyes, and like she couldn't drive, right? And coming from the United States, all women drive. So Donnie would let her drive around the compound, like in circles, because she had her own driver and all that, because she couldn't do anything. But let me tell you something. When you go into a market and you buy your wares and your food and stuff, and it comes out to a certain price, like over there, you can still haggle. Like, so if it was like $90, you can haggle the store owner, and you might be able to get that $90 shit for about 40, right? my sister-in-law was the best at that. Like she could get, she's good. She's a good haggler. If I ever needed anything over there, I'd be like, Marv, I need you to go get me this, this, and this. And like she would always pay half price. Like, yeah,
Nice.
that's your superpower, girl,
Nice.
right there. Like, it was great. Okay, so let's see. I lost it. See, I lost my place now. So okay, so BDSM requires expensive equipment and or gear to be in the lifestyle. Like,
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You can start with a $10 trip to Home Depot and leave with some rope and stuff like that. In order, like, there's so many different things, and one of the places that I have found the most crafty people is in the BDSM community.
hell yeah, man! Because when your strap breaks, like in the middle of it, like you're gonna figure. With anybody, I would always just like get them industrial straps. Like don't get them, don't get the little cheap ones.
For me, like I've got. Now, granted, this is one of those times where I actually spent a bit of money, but it was a present to myself and to the wife, and I bought just over 500 feet of rope.
There you go.
It's all different colored, lengths varying from 6-10 foot up to 30 foot, all nylon. Absolutely gorgeous rope to work with.
Black beans. See, that's one thing that I never. That's black beans. I said, okay. That's one thing I've never had to worry about because my family they own a large tree service. They have all my life, so I have all the rope that I need. Like all I got to do is just go up there to the shop. There's thousands of feet of every pencil strength. You want nylon, you want this. My father is an avid collector of all things rope, right? Because he has to for his profession, as well as like I never even thought about thinking about how many knots there are to learn. Like it never crosses your mind when you're tying something and go, oh, I wonder. Like you normally use one knot, you know what I'm saying? Unless you're in like a business like ours, and in which you have to use multiple knots.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're getting into suspension.
A knot master. Exactly. And so tree services, like they use a lot of different knots for all types of different things. So you use a knot to secure your rope to your personal rope and you to the tree. And you use a different knot to tie into a limb as you're cutting it. I mean, there's just my dad. He would spend like 2 weeks every year, and he's like, "All right, it's knot tying time." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like everybody just we feared that 2 weeks because my dad's very serious about his knots. Like he loves his knots, and sometimes more than he loves his kids. So you had to be on point for them 2 weeks on your knots, and like it was a big thing. Like we had to learn our knots, but I didn't know what shibari was for a long time until not too far back. I mean, I had an old girlfriend that she loved to be shibari, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And so she explained it to me, and I was like, oh, so you can't use like a running bowline to shibari somebody with. And she's like, no. She goes, no, you ain't using them tree knots on me. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, damn it, I know them. So
right, yeah, because I mean, in both instances, like you tie like a quick release knot, and you didn't tie a quick release knot. Now you got to sit there and fiddle with the knot. Like you just ruined a whole entire like thing. Like it could have been tap out time, something was wrong, and now you got to bust out the scissors and cut a $30 piece of rope.
That or your partner is like, she's totally out of the mood after about 45 minutes. You trying to untighten this knot right here that you done tied in there. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, you're right. While some people enjoy specialized gear, BDSM can be practiced with everyday items. They do not require a hefty investment. The focus should be on consent and communication rather than expensive toys.
Yep. I'm not saying that we don't have a couple of expensive toys, but that's, those are the extras. Me personally, my next crafty adventure is I'm going to start learning how to work with leather because I love flogging with leather, and Akasha loves being flogged with leather. So
nice. Oh my God! Like, that's something I did not need to imagine, but okay. I mean, it's already been put out there, so yeah. Okay.
You're welcome.
Oh, I mean, we've literally on 3DX done a full scene.
I know. I think I learned that the first week I met her.
Yep.
Right before our first episode, and I'm like, nice to know. Like, so I told her one time, I was like, we're always ready. Anytime y'all feel like y'all want to, you know what, ma'am? Like, anyway, so I told her, I was like, anytime y'all feel frisky, like, the channel's always open. Like, the channel's always open. Like, anytime. Like I'll sell tickets to it. You just give me like 30 minutes in advance. I'll sell tickets to it, like pay-per-view.
I mean, we enjoy that. Definitely exhibitionism and voyeurism are two things for both of us. So, like,
yeah, me and Sassy, we are definitely the. I don't think she did as much as she before she met me, but like I've always we'll.
Oh yeah,
like it's fun.
Oh yeah, we've definitely had the webcam. We have a site that we use and such, or have in the past. It's more difficult with the daughter around all the time.
Yeah, them kids. But it's funny because like I was. Here's the issue. I seem to have like, and I've been told all my life that the older you get, the less the lower your drive gets, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's some bullshit. Like,
yeah, I haven't found a problem with my drive yet.
Now than I did when I was 16 years old. It's weird. I was all for like being like I'm in my 40s now. Like I was ready to like retire that side of me. Like a good day would be like going to the lake and feeding ducks some like old people go to, right? Like I don't even like no, that's not what's on my mind 99% of the time. So I mean it's feeding something, but it ain't no damn duck. So okay, so okay, it's your turn now.
Oh boy, you okay over there? Because you sound like a robot.
Me?
Yeah. It's happened a couple of times.
I sound like a robot.
Couple
Not
of
at
times.
the moment. You did.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? I tend to like I use my phone on Discord because it's easier than using my. Plus, I stream off the computer, so I can't use it to talk into and stream at the same time because it goes around. Like instead of going from A to Z and then back to B, is how the connection has to be for it to work right. So I have to use my phone to talk on, and I forget, and I let the screen shut off. When I start talking in robot forms, that's when the screen's off.
Okay, we'll just tell you to
Okay.
turn your screen on. Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
All
try to
right.
keep it on, and then I start talking, and like I just ramble on. Like Tasha knows she's supposed to be the one that like zip ties me and makes my mouth shut. Like that's part of her job.
Well, did you give her consent to do that?
Yeah, he's been giving me consent since the beginning of the time
Well, see,
we
there you
started.
go.
Anyways, BDSM is dangerous and leads to serious injuries.
Absolutely not. Like, there's so much communication and safe words and everything. Like, there's absolutely no way. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because accidents happen. Asshole fake doms are a thing. So it does happen. And that's what gives it a bad name.
That's it.
Yep.
You're absolutely right. But you know, it sucks. But we have bad in everything we do. Like no matter how good you are and how much you try to elevate something and to show everybody that it's this way, you always got them bad apples that want to ruin it for a lot of folks. So
Yeah.
Always gonna be them.
Yeah. I think because you guys debunked it, didn't you? Yeah. It's been debunked. Because apparently, yeah, because safety is a fundamental aspect of BDSM. Practitioners aftercare to ensure that all parties feel safe and respected. Education and communication are key to minimizing risk. Again, that's what my husband basically just said.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
So BDSM is only for sexual gratification.
Oh God, no. Sometimes it's just about the power exchange. Sometimes it's just about, feeling a certain type of connection. Like, most definitely not. There's so many times where I've watched scenes and done impact play with people or done shibari with people, and there's been nothing past the impact, the shibari, stuff like that. Like that's sometimes that's just all it is.
Yeah, I just like saying the name Shibari. That just sounds like so exotic. Like I'm a cowboy from Florida. Like I'm sure I have Shibari a couple people, not knowing that's what it was, but like it just seems so exotic and liberating.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you say most things in like Japanese and such like that, they sound just beautiful.
You know, my uncle, he was in Vietnam, and he said, boy, you got to go to Bangkok before you die. And I'm like, why? And he goes, well, for every one man, there's like 15 women. He goes, and they love Americans. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, oh yeah. He goes, but he said he would go to this one particular, we call them, I don't know what we call them anymore, but like a hoe house, right, or a whorehouse. Back
A brothel.
A brothel, yes, exactly. And he said they would do it around the world for like $2.50. And I'm like, damn, that's cheap. What? And he goes, do you know what it is? And I'm like, no. I'm 10. No, I don't know what the hell it is. And he was always the one that would like he didn't sugarcoat anything. He would tell me exactly. You probably have to turn it on and then press play. And he would just like he would tell me very graphically, sometimes unwanted graphically, but he said what it is. He goes, they would guide you into this room. You get naked, you lay down, and then you're looking up at the ceiling, and all of a sudden you see this woman they would descend. She'd be descending down from the ceiling on a rope, but it was on a swivel up on the rafters, and they would lower her down on your manhood, and then they would take her and they would spin her like a top on top of you. He goes, I don't give a damn how much like stamina you got. He goes, ain't no man surviving that. Like, you ain't surviving that. Like, you're going quick when she starts spinning around like a top. And I was like, so that always stuck with me. So last week I got the swivel. This week I'm gonna get the harness and the rope, and like I'm gonna spin Bobby Joe around. I'm gonna have it on. I'm gonna have it on a motor though, so I can have a little remote control. Like this, yeah.
What say you're gonna do it unless you're really gonna do it?
Well, Sassy's a little emotional right now.
Clearly. We're all not weak.
So, okay. Okay, so we'll go and look. Once you're into BDSM, you cannot go back to vanilla sex. What about that?
That's not true at all. Like, a perfect example of that is the wife and myself. Like, just because there are times where we do impact play, bondage, and stuff like that, or, just rough fucking in the cemetery, whatever.
Which we did twice,
There's
I think, or 3 times.
A few times.
A few times.
But there are definitely times where it's just like snuggle up with each other and just some, even though I don't really like the term vanilla, just some good old vanilla sex.
Yeah, I mean, like vanilla sex, you can't beat vanilla sex every once in a while. Like when your hips popped out or something, like some vanilla sex.
Yeah, but also because you have kids, they also come in handy.
Oh my gosh, I didn't think it was a thing. I didn't think silent sex was a thing until you have children. And then, like, for one, you got to get it when the getting's good, and you got to be so quiet about it. Like it's crazy. We love our children, and we would never think anything else. Like mine, I mean, I could take her. Like mine are expendable, I guess you could say. Like I could love them, I could hate them. We're at that juncture now with our kids because 2 of them are grown and one of them's a teenager. So, like, yeah.
Well,
like I tell my daughter, just because I love you doesn't mean I always like you.
Look, man, the government says we have to love them. I tell my kids all the time, the government says we have to love you. It ain't say shit about me having to like you all the time. So get out of my face and go do something. Or like my daughter, she loves to throw her boyfriend up in our face. Like, yeah, I got a boyfriend now. Well, you got a boyfriend because we allow you to have that boyfriend. Like, don't get it twisted, girl. He could be sat on by a cow. Cow could trip him. Never know. Like, we have some ninja cows out here. They might come over here and like walk on top of him by accident. Like, you never know.
Weirder things have happened than getting walked over by a cow.
Yep.
Yeah, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even, yeah, it's funny because, like, I never, before, like, we started raising cows. I mean, we've raised cows all my life, but like when you were younger, it didn't really, you didn't take into the account of how many times you literally got to stand out there and go, don't come over here and fuck my cows. Like you walking down the street with a little step stool, don't you cross my yard and try to fuck my cow. Like, I've had to put signs out one time, and yes, I was being a smart ass, but I really wasn't. Like, it says, please do not come molest my cows. Like, that's the thing.
That's gross. But yes.
But
Well, in my opinion, like other people, I'm not here to kink shame. That's not my thing.
Well,
But at the same time,
I'm definitely here to say, hey, everybody, don't molest my cows, please. They don't
Right.
like being molested.
That's a king.
Well, I mean, look, I don't know if it's as much of a kink here as it is. Like we have our parties when we party, like we party in the middle of a cow field. You know, it's country heaven out here. Like, and so like when we were younger, our trucks would be in a circle, the bonfire would be in the middle. Like you get a little sloshed, and like I had a buddy of mine. I knew every time we had a party, I would have to watch him because I knew eventually at the end, somewhere before the end of the night's over with, he gonna go out there and try to fuck a cow. And I'll be like, Hank, no, man. Like, put the stool down, bro. You don't need a stool to go hang out. Like, you're already pre-planning. Like, stop. But you know, some people just get like they just can't help themselves when they get drunk and like, yeah,
yeah,
you gotta move
no,
on down the road. Go to the field next door. Go to that field.
I can tell you one thing. In all of the times in my life I've gotten inebriated, there's never been one of them where it's like, huh, maybe I should go fuck a cow. Not one.
Or sheep.
Nope. Nope. Although I got a good joke about that.
Oh, I do too. I do too. You say yours first. I'll say mine second.
How does the Scotsman get the sheep to push back?
How's that?
Fucking on top of a bluff.
And see, I mean, I'm Scotch Irish, and even that's funny. Like I'm not even offended. But that's even funny. I like that one. I told Sassy when I first met her, I had to feel her out. First, I had to make sure she was of age. Like I had to check her ID and shit, put it up underneath the light, make sure it wasn't fake and whatnot. But I told her, I said I had some sheep pussy the other day. She looked at me kind of sideways a little bit, like, what? I said, yeah, it wasn't bad. So like. And you try to text that to somebody, and it's just not nearly as funny unless you hear it in person, right? So, I learned.
Honestly, with enough A's, I would read it like that. That's how it would sound in my head as I was reading it. I'd start chuckling.
Well, you know, I was doing that one day, and I didn't, you know what? I've raised animals all my life, but sheep was not one that we raised. Like we didn't have sheep, and so I'm trying to figure out what the hell a sheep does. Like I just couldn't remember. Like maybe I was having a bad day that day or something, but I couldn't remember that they bad, right? The bad. So
Yep.
I'm sitting here trying to figure out what to type, and some girl, she goes, they bad. That's what they do. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, you're trying to figure out what sound a sheep makes, right? And I'm like, how you know that? She goes, I just know, but they bad. And I'm like, oh, hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Like, I should have tipped her because, like, I kind of felt embarrassed though that day because I was like, I should know that a sheep bass, but I did not. Yeah, and but you know, every once in a while, to relax while you're having sex. It's you know, it's not always like monkey style or swinging from the rafters type shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's fun and all. But when you get up my age, like every once in a while, I got to tell Sassy, calm down, girl. Like, you know, you're going to blow my knees out. Like, my knees are going to go. Like, we gotta take like a break. And so my knees can heal. Like, look, I've been on the verge of almost stroking the fuck out. Like, literally, we would have to stop. And I'm like, God, Sassy, what? And I'm like, look at me. Like I am drenched. Like I'm poor.
Oh,
I got
yeah.
a puddle of sweat up under me. Like and my heart racing so much. I'd be like, I feel like this is the one, Wheezy. Like I'm about to fall out. And she's
Oh yeah, there's definitely times where it looks like I just got out of the swimming pool and I'm just like, I'm gonna take I'm gonna have a smoke, come back, and we'll have more fun.
yeah. I normally pass out after that, but like so okay. We're gonna shimmy down. because we're running out of time. But okay, I have a question, a Q&A for you, right? Okay, Vampire Queen, like this is called a hot question and answer session, right? This is going to be very fast. Like
A hot one?
yeah, your husband has 10 seconds to answer these, right? So you notice that we're going to do one question right after another. So he has less than 10 seconds to give his answer, right? It's supposed to be off the top, it's supposed to be the first thing off the top of his head and whatnot. So
Okay.
so we're going to get through this in about, I don't know, a minute and a half. All these questions, okay? You ready?
Okay.
Are you ready? Okay. Okay, so we're going to start right now. What was your first experience with BDSM and how did it shape your journey as a Dom?
As I explained earlier, meeting that lady down in Florida.
What advice would you give to someone new to the BDSM community?
Always be open to communication. And always
How do
think
you-
about consent.
How do you establish and maintain consent with your submissive?
Talk with them. Always communicate. It's communication, consent. 2 simple rules.
Can you share an example of how you navigate consent discussions?
Like with Akasha, I have talked to her multiple times about, is this something you want to do? What would you consent to doing? How far do you want to take this? Those are things you need to think about when you're asking for consent.
In your opinion, what is the most important aspect of power dynamics in a Dom-sub relationship?
Communication and consent.
How do you handle situations where boundaries are tested or crossed?
Safe words, and immediately acknowledge and adhere to the safe word used.
What steps do you take to build trust with your submissive?
Communication. Always be open and honest and communicate with your submissive.
How do you ensure that both you and your submissive feel safe during play?
Communication.
What are some common misconceptions about being a Dom that you would like to address?
Doms are violent and always power hungry. It's not the case. A lot of us are very kind, giving caretakers.
How do you respond to stigma or misunderstandings from outsiders?
If they are set in their ways, that's up to them. Everybody is entitled to what they believe, but if they are willing to listen, I am willing to communicate.
Okay, can you share a memorable scene or experience that you had a significant impact on you as a Dom?
It would have to be an impact scene on a St. Andrew's cross in a super expensive house during a Christmas party, where it was like the first time the
Nice.
safe word was used and communicated about, and it made me really understand how close we were.
What has been the most rewarding aspect of your role?
My wife.
Good answer. Good answer. If you could describe your Dom style in 3 words, what would they be?
Daddy, caretaker, sadist.
Nice.
What's your favorite way to unwind after a long session?
Getting high.
Okay, that's another
I fucking knew that already.
great answer.
I already knew that fucking answer.
Okay. So this one's it's actually that was the last question as a just so you know, sir. This one is we stories from your experience.
So I started let's see, I was 25, so 17 years. Now, granted, a few of those years I wasn't actively practicing because I was with my ex. I was still rigging at that time because the ex did enjoy rope, but that was it. There was no power exchange, no power dynamic. There was no actual DS relationship there. However, I still stayed, have the internet, so definitely was still able to stay up on topic and get into chat groups and stuff like that.
Akasha, do you have any relevant perspectives or like anything that you would like to share about you and your husband's time together? Like, 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 don't blow my head off, or like, you know what I'm saying? Don't like make me like want to like put cotton in my ears or something. But do you have any like little funny stories or whatnot that that you and your I know one that I already know about the time that y'all did whatever y'all did on y'all's live on whatever. I don't even want to like picture it. But I'm just saying, like,
Oh,
Oh,
you
there
mean
was
when
plenty of people having fun to that.
Yeah, there was like a lot of people in, I think, in that room when we did that.
yeah,
So
like
it was pretty fun.
yeah, like I get to a point with my women, I should say, like I like a lot certain females in my life. I cease to see them as females, like they're like sisters and whatnot, right? Like Dixie drives me absolutely mad because like she knows how much I have. One of my kinks is like human kitties. Like I love them, like rawr, right? And Dixie thinks it's funny to dress up as a kitty and come around and like try to do like some ass wiggling in front of me because she knows it drives me bonkers. Like I would rather stab my eyeballs out with a knife and see Dixie dressed up as a kitty, right? She's just
Well,
horrible.
my husband did that. He did the helicopter with because the glow stick, like you could turn
Yeah,
it to a
yep.
bracelet or to a necklace, whatever. He stick that to his Prince Albert and started doing the helicopter with it.
Oh my God. That's definitely an image that I did not need to have in my brain.
You're welcome.
So we're gonna go on to this quick little quiz that I had crafted. Actually we're gonna skip that because it's getting you got about 10 minutes probably. So I have I did a would you rather BDSM edition, right? So I'm gonna ask all three of y'all these questions and y'all give me y'all's answers because like I just want to see where Sassy's head is really. So
Clearly,
okay.
you know where it's at. Her giggling tells you everything.
Would you rather have a partner who is a strict dom or a playful one?
Both.
Yeah, I have to go with both. That's what my husband is.
I'd rather not have a dom.
Yeah, on that one.
I'm both ends.
Would you rather try a new kink that you've never explored or revisit a favorite one?
I'll try a new kink. My husband already knows this.
I don't even know what my kinks are. I haven't experienced that, so I just try it. What the hell?
I don't like change, so like I'm
Deal
not.
with it. Deal with it. Deal with it.
It depends on
Suck it
my
up,
mood.
Buttercup.
100%. It depends on my mood. There's definitely going to be days where I'd rather, do shibari or edge play or, cum denial or, forced orgasms. And then there's going to be days where I'd rather, try something completely different that we haven't done before.
I did that a few times on your ass, edge play. Or sometimes you go to the bathroom and you deal with it.
I just want to experience.
Yeah, I'm down for. I'm a pretty open-minded person. I'm down for pretty much anything but pegging. Like you ain't gonna peg my ass. Like I am not the type that is like all into pegging and shit. Like I don't even like saying the name. pegging.
I've done enough damage to that with spicy food over the years. I don't need it to get wrecked by anything else.
Okay, so I'll tell you a quick little thing. I was having an issue when I was younger. It was probably about 7, 8 years ago, and I was I think I was 35 or so. And if I went to the doctor, I was gonna have him check me out and whatnot. And he closes the door as soon as I walk into the exam room. He's like looking at me as I'm walking through the door, like he's stalking me or something. And then he just quietly closes the door and he locks it. And I'm like, that's new. Like, I notice everything. Like, I'm an observer. And like, when your doctor, general practice now, no specialist or anything, locks the door when you sit down in his office, like, that's weird. But whatever. So he goes, Chris, well, look, here's my hands, here's my face. And he's gloving up as he's saying, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you gloving up, bro? Like I don't, like, I'm sterile. Like you ain't got to glove up. And he's like, oh no. He goes, I need you to drop your pants and bend over this table. And I'm like, and the fuck you are? Like, no, I ain't bending over nothing. No. And he finally told me, like, you're not gonna leave this exam room until I examine you. And I'm like, man, like, oh my God. So I breathe. I do a little bit of Lamaze, right? Breathing. And finally, and like this man had like gargantuan gorilla hands. Like,
boy.
For a white guy, this man had the biggest motherfucking hand. He could palm 2 basketballs with one hand. That's how big his hands are. And I'm like, holy shit! Like you ain't got somebody like one of them women like with them little teeny hands.
Really bad.
Oh my God, horrible. So finally he does his thing, and like I exhale, and he tells me, he says, well, I know what your problem is, blah 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 blah. He was like, you're a tight ass. And I'm like, a white guy being a tight ass. I kind of like snickered at that. And he goes, no. He goes, really? You know, he goes, my professional opinion, you need to go buy yourself a toy. And I'm like, for what? Like, I don't want no Fisher Price toys. He goes, no, you need to go buy you a dildo. And I'm like, the fuck I do? Like, what kind of like diagnosis is this? Like, that is not happening, bro. Like, and then I told him, I was like, you know what? Next time, like, you could have at least bought me a soda, or you could have got me a damn taco or something before you roundly violate my ass like that again. Like, I want to be I want to be thought of as special. Like when you have to do that.
Oh no!
Time.
In that instance, you were the John. You not only got serviced, but you paid for it.
Oh my God, it was horrible. Like I told him, I told him next time, I said, I'll never come to your gargantuan hand ass again. I'm gonna tell you, like man, you need to like deflate them fingers before you start poking and prodding at people. But yeah, it was a horrible. It was horrible. It was just fucking horrible. Like prostate exams are fucking horrible. So everybody's getting close to being 40. Make sure you get your prostate checked. I'm just saying, that's a public service announcement from Unzipped Truth. Okay, so
boobs are horrible. Too,
would you rather engage in a public scene or a private one?
Depends on my
I'm
mood.
okay with both. Yeah. Depends if I'm comfortable.
Yeah. Like I'm
Yeah.
always comfortable in public. Like I told Bobby John, like, look, I'm finally off probation. Like I'm free and clear now. Like now's the time that I'm gonna bend her ass over the hood at Walmart. Like everything happens at Walmart, so they're not gonna look anything. You know, they're not gonna look at you anything sideways. Like everybody, you always some weird shit at Walmart.
Like in the middle of somewhere like a dance floor or something in a club or something.
Look, my legs don't bend that. Like my knees don't bend that far, girl.
Oh,
No, that's
Oh my
fine.
God.
Like, I'll just have to like, dude, how much you charge? Come on over here, brother. Like, come on. I'm just kidding. Okay.
you did not just go there for that.
Okay, so would you rather use traditional safe word or a color coded system like green, yellow, or red to communicate during play. Like Sassy, she said that we could do like a Simon Says type thing or a red light, green light thing.
I prefer
I-
unique, but that's me.
Know how to make a safe word. That's
Like-
my issue.
Yeah, it's like Squid Games. Like, you know, y'all watch that? Have y'all ever seen that movie? Or that show?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, when they're doing the little game, right? Just if
Yep.
somebody be up there with an AR-15, whoever don't stop, that's gonna be your last time playing. No, so you can tell how country we are. Would you rather have a session that lasts all night or a quick, intense scene?
So
For an actual session, I would prefer something lengthy.
Lengthy. About you, Akasha, you down with the length too?
Lengthy, yeah.
And they said size don't matter. Whatever. Okay, so okay, sir. We are at 9:29 right now. I don't know what time it is where y'all are, but it's
Same
10
9:29.
time.
Okay, so we're gonna pause this for a little bit, and we just want to thank you so much for coming out and like being on the show, and we appreciate you allowing your wife to come into this craziness once a week because like I've gotten used to her. It's like she's grown on me a little bit, like
it's
so.
you need to learn things
So
and
it's
come into-
I really enjoy Akasha being my co-host, and we just appreciate you letting her do it, you know, and all this good stuff. And it was great to meet you, and it was an honor to have you on the show, sir. Like,
Well, thank
you're
you so
welcome
much.
anytime that you want to come. The door is always open for you. All you got to do is just pop in. You ain't even got to ask. You just pop in and be like,
Let's go down to Florida.
Daddy's here. That's what I'm saying. I won't call you. Right? Yeah.
You don't even need to ask.
Yeah, I mean, the door's always open too. Like we live in a tiny home, so like it's always open. Like you ain't. So,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, we do appreciate it, my man. Thank you so much.
You know what? I appreciate you guys having me here. It was a lot of fun. I enjoy talking about stuff like this because it's something that I'm passionate about, knowledgeable about, and not something I get to communicate about regularly. So
Yeah,
I will
we,
definitely
I
be
have-
back so we can chat again.
Yeah, I have a fiance that is so inquisitive about everything. Like she loves to just learn about everything. Like me and her are very similar in that aspect. We're sponges. I soak up other types of stuff than she does, but she just loves to learn about everything. So Akasha, thank you, honey. Like normal, thank you for coming and being my wing chick. And
You're welcome.
we appreciate y'all, and like y'all have a blessed night and
You as
a
well.
safe trip and all that good stuff. So, all right, guys, this is it. This is
All
gonna
right.
end it, and y'all have a blessed night now.
You
You
all
as
too.
well. Night.
Bye.
Damn, like kinky. What? Yeah, okay. All right, guys.